Season's greetings from Gold FM 93 or 93.2 island-wide.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
Good evening. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your news in detail. In the news headlines, government must reconsider unlocking IMF's rapid financing facility. Rainfall to continue. 5 districts under landslide threat. Bar Association condemns Ranjan Jailal's unofficial magistrate claim. Dr. Rukshan Belana suspended. In news overseas, Ukraine receives loan while Putin refuses compromise.
The top story on Gold FM.
A well-known economist believes that it is not wise for Sri Lanka to obtain funding from the International Monetary Fund's Rapid Financing Facility when better alternatives exist. The IMF's executive board is expected to consider Sri Lanka's request for $200 million under the facility due to Cyclone Ditwa today. Against this backdrop, the executive director of Verite Research, Dr. Nishant Jamel, said the interest rates offered by the Rapid Financing Facility will not be cost-effective for the island nation. Speaking to us, this is what he had to say.
When we decide to embark on taking a loan, it shouldn't be based on supply. It should be based on Sri Lanka making an evaluation as to what is the most cost-effective and best structured loan that we can take. When you look at it like that, I think what we have shown is that the cause of the way the IMF applies surcharges and the expected depreciation of the rupee against the SDR, which is the IMF currency that they use, the effective interest rate that we will be paying is somewhat high.
Speaking of other cost-effective alternatives, this is what he had to say.
The first thing we have said is to look for non-debt creating alternatives, and there is a lot of financing that may be out there through bilaterals and multilaterals that can be raised as grants and not loans, or as extremely concessional loans, which is our first alternative, and we've spoken about that before. But I think if we go into the debt space and want to take loans, then I think we've talked about at least 3 other potential alternatives. One is a very simple one, that Sri Lankans who are saving in dollars and also Sri Lanka's diaspora are already lending to Sri Lankan banks at around 5% on US dollars. And if the government were to issue a cyclone recovery bond with a yield cap at around 5%, we are likely to raise a significant amount of financing through that, given what we are seeing in the market already in terms of availability and supply of dollars to Sri Lankan banks at those rates. So that itself is clearly a available, better alternative that could be explored.
Demel is also of the view that borrowing in rupee terms from the local market can help the government obtain cheaper financing.
When you look at the borrowing rates from the rupee and the possibility of a rate cut that the government will do, that even at current yields, 23-year bonds in the market and in rupee terms are going at about 9%. Now, if you translate what we will pay on the IMF loan and we convert it to rupee terms, we are getting a number of around 11% and possibly more when time-related surcharges kick in. Even borrowing in rupee terms in the local market seems to give the government actually cheaper financing than the alternative being looked at. And of course, there are more innovative things we can do. Sri Lanka launched the first ever government-linked bond, but social bond, and these are known globally that are supported by multilaterals, can also raise what we call a ESG bond, financing that is significantly cheaper than standard market rates and that can be explored also for Sri Lanka with the international sovereign bonds that's guaranteed by multilateral banks with key performance indicators linked to cyclone recoveries.
Finally, he urged the government to be wise in selecting financing options.
Sri Lanka is not in a rush to find financing because we have plenty of liquidity. Spending and recovery on the cyclone will take time, and it is wise to evaluate these options and look at what is most cost effective for Sri Lanka and professionally manage this position of taking debt, not simply react to the fact that somebody is willing to offer us some money. It's really important to know what is the price that we have to pay to take up that offer.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
The 500 billion rupee supplementary sum, which was presented to Parliament, was passed sans a vote today. This funding is expected to address the catastrophic aftermath of the recent natural disasters, primarily caused by Cyclone Ditwa. The National Building Research Institute extended Level 3 landslide early warnings for several divisional secretariats in the Kandy and Nuwara districts. Senior scientist Vasanta Senavira confirmed that the heavy rainfall reactivated landslide sites in multiple locations. 2 significant landslides were reported in Dinipitia and Rikilagaskada today. Further, Level 1 and 2 warnings are in place for several areas in Kurunagala, Badulla and Matale districts. Disaster management authorities issued fresh warnings for residents to remain vigilant, as heavy rains triggered by an easterly wave continue to impact several parts of the island. In the meantime, the flood warning issued for the Mahawali River Basin was extended by 24 hours by the DMC. Roughly 685 Sri Lankan export businesses sustained damages from Cyclone Ditwa. Minister of Industry Sunil Handonete said over 29,600 businesses were registered on the ministry's damage assessment database, with more than 10,000 physically assessed so far across micro, small, medium and large-scale categories. The ministry is providing 200,000 rupees in immediate assistance per affected business, allocating 105 billion rupees to 9,628 enterprises across 17 districts. Despite government pressure to expedite massive payout claims following Cyclone Ditwa, Fitch Ratings reported that the financial exposure for Sri Lanka's major insurance firms remains manageable. According to the latest data, the motor insurance segment continues to dominate the market, accounting for 46.8% of all general insurance premiums in the third quarter of this year. This is followed by health insurance at 15.2% and strike, riot and civil commotions at 14.3%. The Ministry of Health and Media suspended Dr. Rukshan Belina, the Deputy Director of the Colombo National Hospital, with immediate effect. A letter signed by the Acting Secretary to the Ministry, Specialist Dr. W.K. Vikramasinghe, informed Dr. Belina of the decision. The Ministry cited what they called frequent unauthorized media statements, which allegedly created public unrest and controversy across the country as the reason for the decision. Formal disciplinary action remains pending. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka condemned the alleged intimidation of a lawyer by Kaduala Mayor Ranjan Jailang during an inquiry at the Municipal Council. In a statement, the association expressed their concern over audio recordings circulated on social media and reported by the media, in which the mayor claimed that he is an unofficial magistrate. The Bar Association said, quote, "Such a claim is wholly erroneous and misconceived, as the mayor was not at the time acting under the authority of any magistrate or judicial capacity," unquote. The case pertaining to the road incident involving former Speaker National People's Power parliamentarian Asoka Ranvila was taken up before the Mahara Magistrates Court today. During the proceedings, the police informed the court that the medical report containing the MP's blood and urine sample is yet to be received. The samples remain under review by the government analyst to determine if alcohol was a factor in the collision. Counsel for Ranvala proposed the provision of 50,000 rupees for the grandmother, who suffered severe leg injuries, and 25,000 rupees each for the mother and her 7-month-old infant. The magistrate noted that while the court cannot officially determine compensation while the case is ongoing, it would not block the transaction if the victims agreed. However, the husband of the injured woman stated that they are not prepared to accept the money. Further, the magistrate questioned why MP Ranvala remains hospitalized. He asked the Sapagaskanda police officers to clarify who was actually injured in this incident, whether the plaintiff or the defendant. The police confirmed that the victims, the mother, child and grandmother, sustained injuries requiring urgent care. When the magistrate further inquired why the suspect was still in hospital care, the defence counsel said that his physical fitness is not yet in a stable condition. The magistrate ordered the temporary suspension of Ranvala's driving licence with immediate effect. He said that the MP, once released from medical care, must undergo a formal physical and mental fitness evaluation at the National Transport Medical Institute, and that the relevant report needs to be produced before the court.
Now for some news in brief.
The budgets of the Ratnapura and Paliagudda municipal councils, which are under the control of the National People's Power, were defeated today.
The business news on Gold FM.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange closed at 22,149.09 points, after declining by 143.48 points today. The S&P SL20 index ended at 6,056.54 after losing 9.89 points. Market turnover was 3.5 billion rupees. The government raised approximately 10 billion rupees from the country's first commercial 5G spectrum auction held yesterday, with Dialog Axiata plc and SLT Mobitel awarded licenses. Soon after the auction, Dialog announced the commercial launch of Dialog 5G Ultra. Dialog's 5G network is powered by over 220 live 5G sites, serving over 1.5 million subscribers around Sri Lanka. Sampath Bank announced that its board approved a proposal to raise up to 20 billion rupees through the issuance of Basel III compliant Tier 2 capital instruments. According to a disclosure to the Colombo Stock Exchange, the funds will be raised through listed, rated, unsecured and subordinated redeemable debentures and green or sustainability bonds with a non-viability conversion feature. The bank plans an initial issuance of up to 10 billion rupees, consisting of up to 100 million instruments with a par value of 100 rupees each. The first tranche is expected to have maturities of 5 and 7 years. Hello Apparel Holdings was transferred to the watchlist of the Colombo Stock Exchange, effective on the 12th of December 2025. Hella must now resolve these issues by the 11th of June 2026 to avoid trading suspension or potential delisting.
International news on Gold FM.
Russian President Vladimir Putin accused Kiev of refusing to end the conflict. That was during his year-end address today, against a backdrop where the European Union leaders struck a deal to give Ukraine a €90 billion loan. The US Green Card program will be paused under the orders of President Donald Trump. This was after it was revealed that the suspect in the Brown University and MIT shootings entered the US through that system.
entertainment news on Gold FM.
The board of the Kennedy Center voted to rename the Performing Arts Center the Trump Kennedy Center. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the board voted unanimously to make the change.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Dasun Shanaka is named as the captain of a 25-member preliminary squad for the 2026 ICC Men's T20 World Cup, featuring Ranandu Hasaranga, Kusal Mendes, Pathum Nissanka, Matisha Patirana and Dunit Velalage, among others. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM. Thank you and have a lovely evening ahead.